careful that the arm that the camera sits on falls over very easily. So anyway, that is Dvorak's Water Goblin. I didn't know that. And this is the Czech Philharmonic, and I do not know the name of the conductor. I can't repeat it. Before, when I mentioned, I don't even remember the name, when we were at the Gloucester Memorial, that actually was Beethoven. And the name I was pronouncing was the conductor in the orchestra. So I had not heard of them. They were from, it sounded like Eastern Europe, I think. Oh, more snowplows. What a surprise. Anyway, I seriously think it seems, it really seems like about 10% of the cars on the road are snowplows. They're everywhere. So typically landscapers will snowplow during the I can still smell Woodman's on the Rough, but I just lobster with the butter sauce. So yeah, so that's why there's so many snowplows and everybody's got places to plow. So classical music now, what I know and a lot that I don't know, and why I like it. In our first home, which I just loved, in Brazil that I can remember, not the one in Hearne, Texas. Ooh. Sorry. My hair kind of, I'm trying to make my hair look like it's not as see-through as it actually is. It's kind of sounding like my mom. There's a supplement I take which helps my hair, and they're out of it right now. So the thing that I'm taking isn't working as well. All right, bunny trail. Classical music. I know my dad pretty much owned a lot of the records and was more of the music file, even though my mom played them every day. And I mean, if anybody bought records, it was typically Dad. But, you know, Mom kept the record player hot. We had that, it was a Reader's Digest collection of classical LPs. The kids, for those of you who don't know what they are, some of you probably do, they were the vinyl, the long play, which are the big records, and then they had the smaller ones, the 45s and the 33s. So that was the rate at which the record spun on the turntable. So 33 revolutions per minute, is that why it was 33 and 45? Let's see, 33. 45s were the smaller ones, so they went faster. 33s were the larger ones. I don't know why I said the 33 were this. I'm not going to re-record this. It's kind of fun to figure things out like this. So we had this collection. What I recall is that it was a very beautiful box with a sort of a translucent looking, you know, Reader's Digest in cursive, and each record, it was not in the typical sort of lightweight cardboard cover. It was in a thick paper cover that each of the classics like Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Schumann, Schubert would be in a different color paper. It was the same design, but the paper was a different color. Maybe the design was different, and then it had the name. So that's where I fell in love with classical music. And when I was in college, I I recall Victoria's Secret always came out with classical music collections, and so I would buy those, the cassettes. And kids, for those of you who don't know what cassettes are, they are kind of small like this and a little wider, and there are two little sprockets, and then they have the film that go. I know a lot of kids don't know, some kids do. And if the tape broke, you could actually tape it with Scotch tape. You had to do it very gently, and then you would use a pencil to kind of, turn the sprockets around and make sure that your cassette tape was working. And then if it just died, you just go buy a new one. And you could also tape things off of the radio, which you were supposed to do, but we did that as well. And then of course, when I lived in Boston, I loved to go to the symphony. I recall, we were very cultured missionaries. We didn't attend the symphony or anything like that, but I do believe we went to plays. It definitely at the schools, at Pan American Christian Academy, at Graded, the American school. I remember seeing the Unsinkable Molly Brown at Chapel. And then PACA, I remember, did Antigone. They typically did a play and then a musical. And I remember Antigone, The Sound of Music, possibly Fiddler on the Roof. I don't know why I'm thinking that. And then, of course, OC was wonderful. My friend Heather played Laurie in Oklahoma, which the other day, you should see I think it's a 1999 version of Oklahoma with Hugh Jackman. Very, very good. I didn't recognize any of the other actors, but they did an excellent job. And the opening is very clever. The way they kind of come in, you see Oklahoma City in 1999 as they come over at dusk over the river, and then you see the theater off to the left with a huge LED sign that says that Oklahoma is playing. And then they filmed the stage play. You could see the audience a couple of times, but they actually filmed it like it wasn't a movie. It was a play, but the cameras were on the stage. So it was very cleverly done. Okay, back to classical music. In college, I recall seeing Evita when I was in Theta. And it's just some wonderful musicals. And then in Boston, of course, saw Riverdance, Onegin, and Swan Lake, and the Nutcracker several times. Onegin, the couple that had me over to their house for nearly 10 hours, took John and I. No, actually they invited John, but only I could go to see Onegin. It was a tragedy. Anyway, but it was the man who played Onegin, danced Onegin, was phenomenal. And John grew up going to, because his mother was a teacher of piano and voice and loved classical music, she would take Kathy, the third sibling, who studied ballet and then went to Boston University and studied piano. It was very, very good. And so his mom would take Kathy and him to New York City to see her sister Kathy, and they would go see plays and music and all kinds of music and opera. And when John and I dated, and I'd want to go, he'd say, no, I don't want to go. But then we'd go to places, and he'd say, oh, that was really good. John's mom said that his dad said the same thing. So I'm coming up on where I'm stopping, but I'm really enjoying my classical music because they don't have a classical station anymore in Houston. I remember it really bothered John's mom when they took it off the air, and I don't blame her because it is lovely to have that as an option. So I'm going to enjoy my classical music. Take care. Thank you for listening.